Becoming a reflective practitioner, therefore, requires critical analysis. And critical analysis requires the reflective practitioner to be able to break down elements of thinking and elements of experience into the component parts that construct that thinking and that experience. And it's through this process that the teacher is able to differentiate the important aspects of experiences and thinking, and also to distinguish the different elements of those aspects. And quite simply then, critical analysis for the reflective practitioner can be viewed as a process of applying theory in practice. This is, for the reflective practitioner, the foundation principle of critical analysis, how to move theory into the practical domain. And this is viewed conveniently from a point of view of a cycle of critical analysis. And we can see here this cycle quite conveniently displayed. First of all, we can talk about a need that arises from an experience, from a problem. And by critically analysing, what we're doing is trying to map, trying to look at the components, the elements of that problem and our thinking about that problem. Because it's from these elements that we can formulate questions to research, formulate questions to challenge our conceptual frames. What's important in terms of critical analysis is to not only form those questions, but also to understand, to look for sources of evidence for those questions, so that we have some backup, some foundation for what we're really doing in terms of being critical. And from this, we're beginning to experiment with that thinking, to begin to reframe the concepts that we have, and then evaluate the change, to evaluate how our thinking has changed before making the next application, before applying the change action in our teaching. And as a cycle, this brings us back to the action and the experience of that action. How is the problem resolved? Are new problems arising? So what we need to do from the critical analysis perspective is look at certain questions and try to refine those questions. In terms of determining outcomes and information, we could ask a question, for example, on a personal level. I need something on smoking, some information, some evidence to work with the students in the classroom about the dangers of smoking. This could lead to another question. In other words, I have an assignment which I need to complete. Where's the evidence that I need in order to support the suggestions that I'm making? Another question generated from this could be then that I have an assignment. What research do I need to engage with? What evidence do I need to find? And in the cycle then, this is about mapping the thinking, mapping our conceptual understanding, the different routes that we can take through resolving a particular issue, looking at questions to answer. And therefore the mapping process is really about identifying key words which can drive our thinking and support the way we're being creative and innovative, and the way we're using language around describing issues and the process of reflection. Formulating questions then is about being very critical in the way the questions are formed. We have to look at the language. For example, a question generated from bad experiences of managing group work could be about looking at the approaches, the strategies that the teacher is using. Which sources of information are you looking at as a reflective practitioner in order to support the mapping process? Are you looking in the correct locations for the evidence? And this search strategy helps you develop the framework for reflection. It becomes much more critical in terms of how you're analysing situations. And the final part of the cycle is evaluation and application. Evaluation is, does the information, does the research I've done help me solve the problem, help me answer those questions? And then when you're applying, what conclusions can you draw from that application?